consider the power of this. You can build tools, debugging tools, and that's how they build these things. Debugging tools, documentation tools, right from just simple stuff in the .NET. So this is where, again, you probably needed a third-party component to do something.
Zoom in and out.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
You can zoom in and out.
Yeah, I will.
Zoom in. Okay. Right, it's on.
It's on.
This is the last Russ Toolshed. Alan the Costa Pinto is upstage right now dancing, and the whole rest of us are going to go in and do an ode to Russ. So this is Russ's last day, the last Russ Toolshed. Let the games begin.
For 1 second. Actually, we'd like to interrupt it for good. I'm not sure how many of you are aware, but today is the last day of the tool shed. Yes. We want to thank Alan de Costa Pinto for coming in today and doing a presentation on a whim and bailing out Russ yet once again. The Russ Toolshed's been an important part of the district for the last couple of years. Russ hasn't, but the Toolshed. And so we thought we'd take a couple of moments. You have all had a lot of fun with Russ over the last number of years. Now it's our turn. We're going to take a few moments here. We apologize for cutting you off in midstream with Alan as he was talking about threads and all those important things in life, right?
Hey Rick, 1 second. If you want to talk about multi-thread async, I'll be outside.
Alan will be glad to answer any questions that you have in a few moments.
Can we talk about types too?
Well, we just found out Alan doesn't like types, so we'll deal with that later.
What's the name?
But we want to hang out for a few minutes because we want to have a little fun, and we're going to have a little bit of a roast for Russ Fustino. Okay? An appreciation for over 5+ years of delivering these types of events. So we've gathered a number of people in the district, a number of people who've had exposure to Russ over the years, and we're going to have a little fun with this for the next couple of moments. One important aspect, though, is that Russ' job is now available.
Here we go.
Yeah, it's a raffle.
You got a beer?
So with Russ's job available, we figured we need to hire somebody. And so as a team, we all got together the other day and said, okay, what type of person will we be looking for? And what's the #1 attribute that Russ possesses that allows him to be so successful during his career here? And the #1 thing we came up with, how many people can read a script? If you can read a script, you can have Russ's job. Because unlike Alan, who gets up here and really goes through the whole thing and knows his demos, Russ continuously has to look. Now, a number of years ago, that was okay, because Russ had pretty good eyesight. You could see the script. 4 or 5 years, that worked. But Mother Nature set in. And now the unfortunate aspect is Russ has to keep the script over the screen in order to see it. So the last bunch of tool sheds, they've gone right down the tool shed. But for those of you that remember Russ,
Okay, cool. Thank you.
when he came to us as a baby a number of years ago, he actually looked a little bit different. We went back to the archive and grabbed a couple of photos. This was right before we showed up for the first tool shed. But if you notice, one of these this picture, there was this very hip little keychain that he used to have. He used to keep his keys on. It was a Gucci keychain. That was near and dear to Rusty's heart. The problem is, we all had a team meeting one year up in Maine. Yeah, he laughs now. We didn't laugh when he went swimming with the keychain in his pocket with all his car keys on it, did he? For 3 days he had to stay over my house in Maine because he didn't have a car to get home because his keys were somewhere in the Atlantic. Classic Russ. Never forgot anything in his life, did he? What time's the next tool show? Russ, they're always at 9. Oh, Russ, they're at 9. You don't show up till 10. Not sure Russ ever showed up to anything on time, although Raheel's got a few things on that. We also have one little clip in, and I don't want to steal Mike Cramer's thunder because he's got a little ode to Russ in a few moments, but we found the very first tool shed picture. Now this goes back 6, 7 years ago, and it's been pretty amazing that they even had cameras back then. The crowd's a little smaller.
My mom is the second one from the left, who lives in Florida. That's who I'm going to take care of now.
Well, there he is, Rusty Frank, affectionately known, all that stuff. Rusty doing the first tool shed for family. You know we counted it, we used to, well, let me go back a step. We used to have a concept that we called cheeks and seats. When Russ used to do his presentations, we used to try and count how many people showed up. So Russ counted all these cheeks and seats right away. He's been counting these for 7 years. Another key component that people are unaware of, now that we're trying to fill Russ's job, other than just having to be able to read a script, there's another key component. Not many of you know how athletically inclined Russ really is and how important that really is to doing your job. It's not easy to carry the equipment in from your car. You have to jump over hurdles and all these kinds of things. So Russ actually used to be a professional athlete. So one day we had a team meeting and we said, you know what? I told everybody, bring your rollerblades up if you know how to rollerblade. So Russ said, oh, I'm quite good at rollerblades. Well, we know you used to be a professional athlete, so let's see what kind of talent you actually had back in those days. Hold on one second. I need to, how do we, hold on one second. We'll back up one second. Hold on.
There's his best side.
We'll get to the that wasn't scripted, but
Well, that was a long time ago.
so Russ and his amazing athletic ability.
There he is getting content for the next tool shed.
That's it.
You're all but Mr. Flawless then. Another one of those, you'll be on the Olympic team.
The actual funny aspect of this is he puts the rollerblades on and we think he knows what he's doing. And there's an incline in the driveway, so he gets going. And this is previous to what we take. He goes flying down the driveway and it just goes flying over himself and trips on the grass and almost kills himself. But we didn't tape it. So we made somebody run in the house, get the camera, we pulled Russ back to the car. Because we knew there was no way he was going to stand up that time. So Russ' athletic ability just always amazed us, and it's been we've been pretty fortunate to have this type of capabilities doing the Russ Toolshed. But I'm not going to garnish all the praise here. We've got a number of people that are going to come up and just give a little bit of introduction to Mr. Russ and the experiences that they've shared with him. With that, I want to bring up Jim Vacca for a minute to talk about Russ.
You know, when we got together as a group to try to decide what it is that we wanted to do, the idea of a roast was the first thing that came to mind, and it came easily because there's so many topics, so many special moments. But the difficult part, though, was to try to filter through them and come up with the topics that were appropriate for as large and public an audience. That actually made it pretty difficult. But we were able to come up with some pretty good ones. And the topic that I want to spend some time talking about a few stories is what I affectionately refer to as Russ's striptease. Now, you're probably thinking it's a topic that probably belongs in that inappropriate section, but it's not. And if you've been to any of the tool sheds in the past, you'll remember what I'm talking about. Let me explain. So, years ago, I'm at my very first tool shed. I'm in the back of the room, watching things get set up, because I'm one of the last presenters, as you'll hear about later. And there's Russ on stage, turning on music up on his computer to the speakers. The next thing I see is him get down onto the floor and walk up and down the aisles, shifting his hips back and forth, reaching into his tool belt and saying, "Well, let me see what I got for you today." I'm watching this and I'm like, I don't believe what I'm seeing. All I could think of was that he was going to take the shirt off of his back and throw that into the audience next. Fortunately, the dance routine ended there. Now, these trinkets that he threw out, as it turns out, Russ was pretty fond of. And rumor has it, and Russ, you got to verify this for us, that Russ would actually take those trinkets from the marketing closet, wrap them up, and give them out to family members as Christmas presents. That's true?
They have their share.
But to be honest, there's a lot of skill that goes to handing out those types of trinkets. It's not as easy as it may seem. In fact, one year, Russ had another Microsoft employee join him for the tool sheds. Now that person's name will remain anonymous. This person tried as hard as he could to win the hearts and the souls of the tool shed developer crowd. And in doing so, wanted to also reward the audience for sitting there listening to him preach and wanted to hand out trinkets of his own. Only this person wasn't as skillful with their trinket distribution method, and instead beamed people off of the head as they tossed them into the audience. Needless to say, nobody was seriously injured, but the crowd did leave in a purple haze. But Russ, as well, was not always as successful handing those out. In fact, one year, Russ was going through his evaluations, and way off to the left, past 1, past 0, somebody actually wrote in a negative number, a negative 1. The criticism was that the trinkets that Russ would hand out were too masculine. And that Russ would be more considerate of the other members in the tool shed and have more gender-appropriate trinkets. Hard to believe that Russ couldn't please everybody in the crowd.
The mail file was the same. What? It was on the email.
We're not making these up. All right, the last story I'll leave you with before I let the next person come up, I think is by far the funniest. Now, as you know, Russ would go on the road to companies to deliver a tool shed, probably has done it to some of the folks here in the room. One such time, Russ shows up at the company in his boots, his jeans, his t-shirt, his hard hat, his suspenders, his tool belt, toting some of his bags, walks up to the lobby and says to the attendant at the front desk, "I'm Russ the Tool Man, I'm here to do my session." The attendant, wasting no time at all, picks up the phone, makes the phone call, gives Russ a set of directions. Russ is off on his way. Now, oddly enough, Russ is walking, and it seems to be taking a little bit longer than normal to get to the presentation. Finally, he gets to the end of his directions, opens up the door, and instead of seeing a crowd full of people eagerly awaiting developer tips and tricks, he sees a collection of other tool men in the boiler room. The boiler repairman. Well, Russ, it's been fun taking a few moments, and it's been my pleasure staying up here and roasting you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Jim. Thanks.
Let's bring on the next one.
The reality of it is that the Russ tool shed almost didn't even get off the ground. Russ is known for a lot of things, his good looks, his great presentation. Brains has not always been at the top of the chart. How many here were involved with Bob and Larry seminar series?
Yeah.
Does anybody remember the trinkets that we gave out for Bob and Larry seminar series? They were brain balls. Does anybody remember how they felt? Very soft. So that if you pegged them at somebody, it didn't hurt. Right? So we used to throw these things a lot. So when Russ was coming up the food chain, he used to see that these trinkets used to get thrown around a lot. So then Russ goes and orders his trinkets. And what does he order? Wrenches! Oh! It's okay to order wrenches, Russ, but you don't go pinging them at the door. We almost didn't have a Russ Toolshed because we almost got sued 4 or 5 times. The times we had this because the poor people in the back kept getting pinged by wrenches. 14 stitches, I think, is the max we had one time, right? I'd like to bring up Raheel Retiwalla right now for a few moments.
How many people have seen me present with Russ? Not a lot. You know why?
You're not raising your hands for anything else.
Because Russ likes to go with the start of the Russ's Toolshed. All of you have already left by the time it's 3 o'clock. That's when I show up talking about the database stuff. So I'm very proud to be here in the morning. Talking about crowds, how many people have actually bought something from Microsoft because of Russ? That doesn't count. But Russ tries a lot, if you've ever noticed, to sell you stuff, like MSB and universals. It's while he's presenting. One such marketing, thing that marketing did was a program called Show Me the PO. Russ. So you show Russ the PO for MSD, and he will get you a free training for one of the classes of your choice. Anybody who's ever been to a Bob and Larry show in the past, the crowd there, based on the people that attended that, should really be more appropriate as Show Me the Video. Russ has been a great mentor while I've been here, and it's been fun working with him.
I'd now like to bring up Joe Stagner.
This is going to be brutal.
So Russ actually was responsible for convincing me to come and interview at Microsoft. And everybody on the team thinks about Russ as being the quintessential geek. That's a good thing. But I didn't realize how really much of a geek he was until Russ and I were out to dinner one night, and we realized that we actually worked together in the same company on the same team 15 years before. So the interview process is with Microsoft, or at least on Rick's team, is not only long but impressively abusive.
That was me.
So it actually was 6 or 8 weeks, and there were events going on. So to prepare for, you have to go through a whole team of gatekeepers before you actually get to somebody like Rick. So I figured I would seed the process by going and watching Russ present a couple of times so that I could get the vocabulary down and I'd really sound like I'd fit in when I finally got to sit in front of Rick. Funny thing about hindsight. So I've been with Microsoft a couple of years.
Where is he?
Still trying to fit in, and so I went and up to see Russ present up in Maine. I And there were a couple of things that really struck me funny. The first thing was that the game had changed a lot since the bottom. It actually happened to be one of those that, you know, Russ has tried to find partners to help him consistently with the Toolshed. I don't know whether he burns them out or what. Of course, the tough part is you all are a technical disseminating crowd, and Russ could go up and babble for an hour and get, you know, 10s on his ratings. So that's pretty intimidating. For you go presentation, you follow Russ and then go read the reviews that you got after him. I mean, you know, made me question the first time my choice of career. But one of the things somebody mentioned earlier, I wanted to point out that somebody mentioned that in those pictures that there were no ladies, or there weren't very many ladies that attend Russ's Toolshed or Russ's aficionados. And that's only true in the Boston area. So one of the first events that I went to with Russ was up in Maine. I'm sorry, up in Burlington, Vermont. And I never knew that geeks could have groupies. I swear to God, there's this whole collection of women that come to the Russ's Toolsheds up north, and I don't even know if they're programmers. But they have chapters, and you wonder why Russ is always, you know, the rest of us, when we have an opportunity to go to Burlington, it's like, you know, it's like 11 hours drive or something. Russ, I'll go. So, anyway, I'm hopeful that we continue to get to work with Russ. It's been quite an experience. And, wish you the best of time down in Florida. And hopefully we'll see you back regularly.
So thanks a lot. I hope you all learned something from that, as well as I know Joe did. Because I can guarantee the next time he goes on an interview, he won't have a tool belt, a pair of suspenders, and a flannel shirt. When he walked in the door with that stuff on, I went, what the? Actually, it's pretty funny, because this wasn't always the outfit that Russ wanted to wear when we first started the Toolshed. We sat down with a big, you know, meeting of the minds to figure out how we wanted to get the next event going, and Russ said, hey, I want to wear a Santa suit. I don't think that's going to work too much, Russ. So we settled on this attire right here. Is Patrick Hines here?
He is, but he's not admitting it.
Is he really here? Haven't seen him. Okay, we'll hold off for Patrick. Bob and Mike, you ready? The next two folks that I'd like to bring up is Bob Familiar and Mike Cramer. Now we're getting in trouble.
That's real trouble.
The reality. How many people again have been exposed to a Bob and Larry seminar series? How many people have not? How many people have never attended a Bob and Larry seminar series? Okay, for those of you that had not, the Russ Toolshed series never would have happened if Bob and Larry wanted to continue. We had a seminar series called Bob and Larry that was previous to the Russ Toolshed. And it was very, very successful, and very much like this one, only I think the crowds were about 10 times as large. We actually used to have to rent out places in order to have them. You know, Russ, we didn't have that many, so we could have them back here. The Bob and Larry series was much, much more better.
When you get a moment, you get a picture of the cake for
The reality aspect is we had to settle for the Russ Toolshed once the Bob and Larry series ended. But since then, Bob has moved on to many, many more successful things, and he's left Russ in the dust. So now, because of that, Bob had so much free time, he wrote a little ode to Russ. And Mike, as well, also put together a little video, a little slideshow clip for us as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Mike Cramer and Bob Familiar.
You know, and can everybody hear me all right?
Yes.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you.
Woo!
Russ has reached legendary status. And so when that happens, somebody has to write a song. So this is the legend of Rusty Cramer. When Russ was young, his idea of fun, when the others played, Rusty coded away. Rusty coded away. He started out with COBOL, then came low-level C, then came source code control, then came VB. Then came VB. Russ was like a god in the IDE. He could code night and day if it was VB. If it was VB. This is the legend of Rusty Cramer. This is the legend of Rusty Cramer. Russ began to teach, he began to preach. They all came to see Rusty demo VB. Rusty demo VB. Then along came Rick Greene, he had an idea. A seminar, he said, called Rusty's Toolshed. Called Rusty's Toolshed. Every month like clockwork, skip a day of work, come and fill your head at Rusty's Toolshed. At Rusty's Toolshed. This is the legend of Rusty Cramer. He saved the day when Bob and Larry tanked. This is the legend of Rusty Cramer. He saved the day when Bob and Larry tanked. And now after 5 years, Rusty's gonna leave us. He's going to Florida with the sun, the sand, and the breezes. What will he do? He's down south without a clue. What will he do? He's down south, has no clue. Rusty, Rusty, what will you do? What will you do? So what's Russ gonna do down in Florida? Wandering the streets of Tampa late at night with his laptops rolling behind him, his MSDN demo DVDs in one hand. I won't say what's in the other hand. Well, I have an idea what Russ is going to be doing down in Florida. You'll be getting a tan while selling MSDN. You'll be getting a tan while selling MSDN. You'll be getting a tan lying in the sand. Margaritas at 4, maybe 6, maybe more. Cranking AC/DC, a drinking Long Island iced tea. You'll be able to preach while lying on the beach. You'll be upset while coding BB.net. You'll be getting a tan while selling MSDN.
We didn't get a picture of it. Mike Kelly got it.
It's a very tough act to follow, and you know what's an even tougher act to follow? The Toolshed. Right. Because as much as Bob and Larry made their claim to fame, well, guess what? The Toolshed took that and brought it to new heights. I mean, we have had so much fun over the last 5 years with Russ doing these seminars and just cranking through New England. You know, it's time for the roads to get over and time to have the accolades come forth. You know, we've been very special to have a person of Russ's capabilities in the district. We're going to miss him going to Tampa, but you know what? Tampa picks up a great person and a tremendous person just in general. There isn't, we never get feedback that people didn't like the Russ stuff. They like it, they laugh, they cry, and they actually learn something while they're there. And with that, I'd like to thank Russ Fustino for a tremendous, tremendous career here in New England. And if you wouldn't mind, please give me a nice round of applause for Russ. Sendoff for a very special person, and I hope you enjoyed the fact that we cut short your thread conversation. This was the best way we could spend it with Russ ending it, the way that he started. In front of his customers, the people that he knew and loved the best, and this was the best befitting way that we could send Russ off. I want to thank Alan Costa Pinto for really stepping in a short-term notice and just winging that content without Thank Jim Vacca, Raheel, Joe Stagner, Bob Familia, and Mike Cramer. Mike did the slideshow, great job on that. Bob did the song, great job on that. From all the team and from all the customers and from all the other people from Microsoft, I want to thank Russ for a great time doing it. Thank you. Turn it over for Russ for a brief.
That's funny because the very first exposure I ever had, like Rick was saying, is at the Bob and Larry. And it was the very first Bob and Larry I came to. I think they had already done 2 Bob and Larrys, so this is why it was already branded, so they couldn't call it Bob, Larry, and Russ, right? So I invented the Bob, Larry, and Russ Developer newsletter, so I got my name on that way. And then he says, oh, maybe what you could do in the first Bob and Larry is just go over, some good links, right? And, good URLs for people to follow. I got up there, I must have, spent about 15 minutes just going over URLs, and that was the start of the Toolshed newsletter as we know and love it. So we took off right from there. And this has been an incredible run for me. That one slide that says, I love this job. I couldn't have put a better slide in the deck myself. I really do love this job. And it's just always learning cutting edge technologies and being able to present it. And really, I think the most gratifying part is just seeing the attendees and their eyes light up and their heads nod and they're getting it. And it's going to save them some time and effort and, on their development chores. And we really, a lot of the members on the team that have presented in the Toolshed really can feel the pain that developers have gone through and really share, ways to ease that particular pain. And I think that's the benefit of doing these localized developer community type events. And I would definitely like to give a round of applause for all the co-presenters and all the marketing and management here in New England that has supported the Toolshed over the years. Well, like I said, we will be partying somewhere, I don't know where today, but we'll figure that one out. And, listen, again, I want to thank everybody for coming and being a Shedhead. Thank you very much.
On behalf of the software development community here, we thought we'd make you have something to hang on your wall. Now that you're probably going to have a wall to hang on.
Oh, boy.
You do me a favor, if you actually attend to the user group, any of the developer user groups here or anywhere around New England, would you just stand up for a minute so we can see who you are? Wow. This is from us thanking you.
Oh, wow, look at this. Russ Fustino, My Tool Shed, presented to Russ Fustino of Russ's Tool Shed. Grateful appreciation for his many years of faithful service to the thousands of people Russ has enlightened and entertained. Thank you very much. This is great. Okay, are we done?
There's some cake
We're
out
done.
back.
Cake in the back.
Have yourself a piece of cake before you leave.
They give you a real life metal fork and then a plastic knife. I can't kill someone with a fork.
I've been putting together my end of year.
Let me know all weekend you're planning. I'm going to try to come up for that.
We'll do it once. The tickets are still $300
All right,
a
we'll see you
pop.
down there.
For the Pats? Yeah, I thought they'd go down this year, you know, after the stadium wore off. No way.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, Bluey. Acted in human shield for me.
Well, you're not dying.
You see Purple Haze missing?
Alright.
It's even color coded.
I know. Go ahead.
Are you ready?
Yeah, you're on.
All right, Rusty.
Oh!
All right. I'm sure the festivities are not ending with this, but just as another presentation of gift, a farewell, the Rusty Toolshed yearbook.
Oh my God.
Page by page.
Oh, look at this.
Start at the beginning.
Unbelievable. Oh, you guys are too much. Too much. You got Rick's letter, first page.
You know what it is, guys? He's gonna be like Jordan. He'll be back in a year.
Yeah, but then he has to get us gifts.
That's right. It's just like, you know, the Who and Stones go on their farewell tours.
Yeah, and then the
they
final
sell out
tour?
the stadiums, you know. I sold out my first VB.net Lost Weekend coming up because I'm not going to be around anymore, you know.
I was thinking more like Freddy Krueger.
Oh, okay. Oh, man. Devil Ray games. I'm going to see the Devil Rays Friday. Joe Healy's taking me out there.
Good seats are still available.
Yeah, everywhere.
Oh, this is wonderful.
All right, Rusty, shed 2 tears just for the camera.
So Jill had
Almost
about
40,
6
going for
flyers.
40.
So went through and
Yeah,
cut them
good
all
to see
Look at that. Look at that. Yeah.
Cut them all up, I fit them on a page.
Oh,
You do
my
something like that,
God.
you're not eating.
You
Period.
guys got everybody in here. It's freaking
Actually, you
unbelievable.
missed a lot of people because just Q4.
Oh my God, look at that.
Yeah. That was awesome.
I'm gonna get sick. He's getting over.
Oh my God.
Which one is that?
Cozy.
Oh.
With the big 10-gallon drink.
Yeah. The big martini glass.
Oh, wow.
Which you can't read a stitch of his handwriting. It's like the Dead Sea Scrolls over there.
Oh,
it's beautiful
man.
handwriting.
Oh yeah, I got my
Keep going, I got them all in there, yeah?
Yeah, kick. I only got 4 minutes of tape, so would you fucking hurry up?
All right, I'll read all the
Yeah, you read them
other
later.
stuff. Okay, let's see all the inserts here. See you at Gillette. All right, Mark. Where is he?
I'm actually doing it.
Oh, look at this.
I promise
This is great. This is one I didn't have. I didn't have this one this
I
morning.
do. That's my favorite one, actually, the blue one.
Yeah.
It's the only one. All the other ones are all earth tones.
Yeah.
And beer.
This is cool. Oh man. Great shot there.
Yeah, there's some good shots in here.
Oh wow.
And then green myself.
Oh yeah.
Chris Sack, yeah.
Jim Rice. Yeah, where was Chris today? He wasn't around.
Chicago,
He's
somebody
in
said?
Chicago. Yeah, he's not going to make it tonight.
He's not going to be able to make it?
Yeah, him and Vacca are the only two that won't make it.
Vacca.
Well, the late tonight. Tonight.
Well,
I'm here right now.
Last I heard, it was still open. The real question, we're still missing Carbone.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
He will.
He's in action. I think this was the first one.
It may have been, because now we're in the section that Kathy Cronin gave me.
Yeah, I think this was the very first.
In fact, I've got some pre-tool shed stuff you'll see in a second.
Right from here.
Oh, maybe after that one.
This is
there you go,
unbelievable,
X
guys.
Factor for, remember that?
Wow.
She said these were...
That was really,
She's
that
like,
was
this is
like
back in the
prototypes.
thinking days. Yeah, prototypes, exactly.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
That's the one on the wall right there.
And then there's
That's the one that Mike Blumenthal almost knocked over
Good.
when he tripped off the stage. The ode to Russ.
That's it. Started out with cold ball. How did you know? Man, you're unbelievable.
Everybody did, Russ. It wasn't that hard.
Even Rick persevered through that.
Even I did some cold ball. Christ. I flunked it in college.
So what will he
Rick
do
could
when
never get out the Cody
he's going to
streets without
Florida
the,
for the summer breezes? What will he do? I was wondering what was coming next. I wasn't quite sure on that one. So.
Keep going.
Crank ECDC. I love that.
The shirt.
Oh, look at that. Yeah. Oh, man. You already got it in the book. That's pretty good.
Technology.
Yeah, right there.
That reduced nice, Rick.
Unlike your demos, these are fresh.
Oh, man.
Oh, wait a minute. The roast is over?
Oh, God.
He never stopped.
Oh, good. Great shots there.
There's no
Bada bing,
room
wait, with the rim shot.
We'll get some
We
more.
knew the roast
Thank
had
you,
to happen.
everybody.
Yeah, that was the whole
Awesome.
game plan.
Well, toast to Russ. Toast to Russ. Hey! We got Rusty Crank out there a few times thrown in there today.
That was awesome. What a